Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway. Today I've decided I'm going to go back to basics and just get some trains running for you. So as always, there is going to be a theme among today's locomotives, but I thought just for a change I wouldn't tell you what that theme is. So your job is going to be to try and figure it out as the running session goes on, and let me know down in the comments if you figure it out. I will give you just one clue though, because a lot of today's locos are pre-grouping locos. That is not the theme though, so don't guess that. There's a different theme going on. So I don't really have a lot to say. The introduction is a bit mute because I can't tell you what the theme is. So we'll head over to the turntable. I will show you the first locos of the day. I hope you enjoy them, and fingers crossed you can figure out what the theme is too. So here we go then. Every loco you can see is part of the mystery theme, so I'll just pan across so that you can see them there. Any ideas yet? I bet some people have guessed already. Anyway, first loco is this one, a very, very beautiful pre-grouping loco. It is the LBSC E4 in the Umber livery. Absolutely love this one. Gorgeous, gorgeous model with a white roof too, which I think is quite unusual. Right, so there's some coaches on the inside line ready for her to pick up. So I'm going to get her onto the turntable and then I'll shunt her around onto the inside line. And while I do that, here is a little bit of history on the beautiful E4s. So the E4 was introduced to the LBSCR in 1897 to the design of Robert Billington. At the time, the E4 was considered an extremely powerful locomotive, and it successfully hauled both passenger and freight trains for many, many years. In 1923, the class of course became part of the Southern Railway, where they were slightly modified to have cylinders of a smaller diameter. Amazingly, most of the class survived right up until the end of steam, when of course diesels eventually took over, to the dismay and distaste of many people, I'm sure. The E4s were withdrawn between 1958 and 1964, but only one was preserved of 75 built. But I guess it is very, very lucky that we at least have one. So there you have it, the E4, a very beautiful 062 locomotive. Absolutely beautiful, of course, in the LBSC Umber. Absolutely love it. There we are. Hopefully that was a successful coupling. Oh, it sort of was. I think I might adjust it though. There we go, that's better. So she's coupled to the train, ready to go. I just love running this loco. Here we go then. Nice and gentle start. Try not to kill any passengers today, hopefully. There we go. Southern coaches. Not that suitable for the loco, but I think they look alright. Makes a change from the Pullmans I usually use. Yep, very, very elegant that one. Yeah, I do think Pullmans look better actually than the Southern coaches, but you've got to change things up sometime. Lovely. So I'll bring her and her train to a stop, and I will get them running again later on, of course. But in the meantime, I will head back over to the turntable and get the next loco running. Okay, there we go. Ooh, slightly sudden stop there, but I can adjust. There we go. Right, the passengers are going to exchange now, or whatever it is passengers do, and we'll head over to the turntable as promised, and I will show you number 2. Okay, so which loco is it going to be next? Well, it is this. It is the B12 tender engine, of course. So tank engines is definitely not the theme. A really, really lovely model. This is the latest Hornby one with the metal boiler. Yeah, it's just an amazing model. Yet again, can't resist any opportunity to run this. She's got some, well in fact, she's got a massive, massive rake of LNER coaches. As you can see, they stretch back as far as the eye can see. Just looks amazing with LNER coaches. So I'll get her onto the turntable, get her shunted over to the middle line and coupled. And as always, I will give you a little history on the B12s as I do. So this class started life on the Great Eastern Railway, where they were initially introduced to the design of S.D. Holden. Intended for express passenger work, the class helped replace the older Claude Hamilton locomotives. I've shown those before, a class of 440s, which were struggling at that time with larger trains. Just over 80 locomotives were produced, the first being in 1911. After grouping, the S69s, as they were then classed, were inherited by the LNER and reclassified into the B12s, as most of us know them, I would say. And they continued to be produced by the LNER until 1928. Nearly all of the class were scrapped, although one does survive under preservation, so just like the E4, there is only one survivor. There we go. Ooh. Yeah, that wasn't my best driving moment, was it? Either way, hopefully that rammed the couplings home. Did it? Yeah, think so. Right, let's take it off then. A bit more power, I think. It's quite a heavy loco, this, so you do have to give it some power on the controller, but if you do, as you can see, it can handle quite a lot of coaches. Just look at that. Yeah, it's amazing what a bit of metal work can actually do. Very, very powerful model. So there you have it then, folks, the B12 next to the E4. What do those two locos have in common? Let's go back to the turntable then and pull off one more engine for the first half and get it coupled up to a nice train. So only 3 locos left to choose from around the turntable, and the one I'm going for is this one. This has to be one of my all-time favourite tank engines. It's the LMYR Class 5 with the very unusual 242 wheel configuration. That's probably unique in my collection. Absolutely fascinating wheel configuration and very, very beautiful as well. Perfectly balanced, of course. I'll also be really interested to see how it gets on using my turntable, because of course the tracks slope up to get onto the bridge. Are the driving wheels actually going to stay on the track and maintain traction? We'll see. Anyway, parked outside the country station, I have a really lovely train. I really like this actually. I've mixed up some of my sort of early LMS coaches, and I've even added a brake van on the end, as you can see. A really nice little train. I think it just suits the LMYR Class 5 down to a T, doesn't it? So while I go and get her coupled to that, here's a little bit of history of the class itself. The Class 5 originated from the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, also known as the LMYR, in 1889 to the design of John Aspinall. These really handsome tank engines were generally used for small passenger services on track with pretty steep gradients, and some of them were even fitted with push-pull equipment to make that even easier. Over 300 examples were produced between 1889 and 1911, with several variations or revisions being made over that time, such as the addition of smaller cylinders, larger water tanks, and also Belpaire fireboxes. The class was rather unique in that they were fitted with water scoops, a feature usually only seen on tender engines. The class largely survived into BR ownership, although some early withdrawals did take place in the 1920s. The rest of the class, though, were withdrawn before 1961, and only one example was preserved. That was the first built number 1008, which is currently a static exhibit at the NRM. So I'm pretty sure this is a new combination of coaches, for me at least, never done this before. And I love it, that looks really, really cool and old-fashioned, doesn't it? And of course these truly are such lovely, lovely locos from Bachmann. I'll include a link to my review if you'd like to check that out up in the top corner. It's, yeah, it's a good one. Very, very nice. So there you have it then, folks. 3 locos from the mystery theme. Do you reckon you've got it yet? I hope so. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Still 3 more locos to see after these though, so there's still time to go. Let's get them all running then. There we go, there's the E4. See how they get on together, shall we? So do let me know which of these 3 locos has been your favourite so far. I think the best has to be the B12 here. My favourite though, I think it's the LMYR Class 5. I just love that one. But I will put up a poll so that you guys can let me know. It'd be interesting to see which one wins. Maybe it'll be the E4. Maybe. Oh, look at this. Ascending Gordon's Hill together. Wow. Don't expect that's a sight you'd see in real life very often. Oh, perfectly synchronised for a second there. Okay folks, well that is the first half done. If you still haven't guessed the theme, stay tuned because I've got 3 more locos which might help you to get it. Okay, let's see what else I've got. Be right back. Here comes loco number 4 then, an absolute beauty. I wish I could run this more often, and so I haven't passed up the excuse today. It is of course the beautiful 440 D11, and the D11 originated from the GCR, or the Great Central Railway, when 11 were built in 1919 to the design of John G. Robinson for express passenger work. In those early days they were known as the Class 11F, but this was relatively short-lived because they were soon inherited by the LNER, where they were reclassified into D11s 1923 that took place. Further examples were built by the LNER with the subclass D11/2, slightly smaller in order to run Scottish passenger trains. They always did passenger work more or less, starting out with express trains from Sheffield to London, and this particular example, Mons, was the first example to be built for the GCR. She was built in 1919 and served for 40 years before being withdrawn and scrapped. Of a total of 35 built, only 1 was preserved. It is on static display just like the Class 5 was. It's number 506 and it's painted in the GCR livery. Okay, so she is gorgeous, as you can tell, and I will bring her to a stop so you can have a close-up. There we go. Right, there you go then, feast your eyes on that. Just look at the colour there, the tender as well, what a gorgeous, gorgeous tender. Yes, a truly, truly beautiful Bachmann loco there, absolutely love that one. So there it is, the D11, what a stunner. Okay, let's carry on then, and I'll show you loco number 5. So here comes yet another pre-grouping locomotive. I just can't get enough of these really. This is of course the Oxford N7, a complete beauty. And this class started life on the GER, the Great Eastern Railway, where they were first built to the design of Alfred John Hill in 1915. At this time, the class was known as the K85, and they were used for passenger work in the suburbs of London. When grouping took place in 1923, Nigel Gresley continued to produce the design up until 1928, by which time a hefty 134 had been built in total. The entirety of the class amazingly survived the 1948 nationalisation, but a little less than 10 years later in 1957, the first member of the class was withdrawn. In 1962, the remainder had been withdrawn from service and scrapped, with only one exception, and that is 7999, which was preserved. Okay, there we go, the Oxford N7, such a beautiful and such an affordable model as well. Yeah, it's gorgeous, as you can tell. Right, 1 more loco left to show you then, and just in case you thought the theme was passenger locos and passenger trains, this one's got a bit of a goods train. And here comes the final engine then, an absolute beauty, couldn't resist this one really. It is of course the SECR P-Class, and the P-Class was a relatively early design of 060 tank engine, designed by Harry Wainwright for the SECR in 1909. They somewhat resemble the Terriers, of course, of the LBSC, and their design was heavily inspired by them, although the P-Class was never quite as successful, and in fact they never even came close to the expected tractive effort. Because of this, the class was eventually just relegated to shunting and other similar light duties, despite being originally intended for passenger work, as the Terriers were, of course. Only 8 of the class were produced in total over just 2 years, 1909 and 1910, but very luckily 4 examples still exist in preservation today, which in terms of percentages is pretty healthy, isn't it? So there you have it then folks, all 6 locos from the mystery themed running session, and yeah, it's brought about some beautiful variety, loads and loads of different old fashioned locos which I've really enjoyed. So let's have one last run then with the final lot, the N7 up to speed, there we go, and of course the D11 Mons, off she goes as well. Yeah, some beauties today. You're going to have a job picking your favourite, but I am about to ask, so get your thinking caps on and you decide which one you like the best. It's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for me to choose. I love the N7, I love the P-Class, I love the LMYR Class 5, but I love the D11 as well. Yeah, do you know, in today's mood, I think I would probably go for the D11. So there we go, I've done it, I've made the difficult decision. Now you've got to. No getting out of it. So there's the poll, you decide. So there we go then, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, loads of lovely pre-grouping locos. And don't forget to let me know down in the comment section if you think you figured out what the actual theme was. Yes, they're all pre-grouping, and yes, most of them did passenger work, but those are not the answers. So do get back to me in the comments and we'll see who gets it right. You'll get a gold star if you do. For now though, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Yeah, that one was good fun. Some lovely pre-grouping locos there. Very much enjoyed it. Alright folks, you have a great week. I will see you next time. Take care.